Welcome to Franchise Revolution. We're a podcast dedicated to everything franchising, from demystifying the franchise buying process to providing insights and strategies to maximize the investment of buying a franchise and to help you to just identify what the best franchises are out there. My name is Jason Revere. I'll be your host. I'm the CEO and president of Revolution Franchise Brokers. We are a national search firm dedicated to the mission of helping people to declare independence by finding financial and lifestyle freedom through franchise ownership. And so let's get started. It's January 3rd. I'm currently sitting in my car, having to take my daughter to swim practice. And but I didn't want to waste any time here because obviously everybody's got some resolutions that they want to uphold as they enter the new year, and it being only January 3rd here. I didn't want to waste any time, and so one of my resolutions was to actually start producing some of these podcasts. So here we go. But again, today we're really going to focus on a few of the tenets of franchise buying, and one of those is going to be why buy a franchise in the first place. What the heck are we doing here? Why would anybody want to buy a franchise? We're gonna really dive into a couple different concepts and a couple different reasons why you should consider buying a franchise, or maybe even decide not to buy a franchise in the first place. Right? I mean, that's gonna be part of the franchise buying process. Are you even a good candidate to buy a franchise? Should you buy a franchise in the first place? And so we're gonna really hammer home some of those concepts today. So what I want you to do, and the way to get the best out of this podcast is to, if you're not driving, go ahead and grab yourself a notebook. All right, we're going to give you some ideas here, give you some strategies, give you some tips that you might want to jot down for future use. You could always refer back to this audio, obviously, as you go along here. But as we go through this process here, I want you to kind of jot down anything, because this is a very personal thing. When anybody's going to look at making a career transition or an investment of any kind, right? It's always going to be personal, and so you're going to have to. Not every strategy, not everything, not every concept is going to be right for every person, right? So you've got to be able to see yourself in some of the examples and some of the information that we provide here, and jot down some ideas here. As always, by the way, if you need to and you want to get in touch with us, obviously you can find us online. You found this podcast somehow, so what the heck? You probably already know how to find me in the first place. But just hit up our website, revfran.com, for additional resources as we go along here. But first and foremost, let's focus here. Let's get back to the task at hand. We're going to talk about why buy a franchise in the first place. And so what I want you to think about right now, we're going to give you the number one thing that you got to do when you're looking at potentially buying a franchise or leaving your job or doing anything, making any sort of life transition. The very first thing you need to ask yourself is, what am I trying to accomplish? All right? What are you trying to accomplish? That's the very first thing we need to do, is what the heck? What are we doing here? You're just doing it. You're just buying a franchise because you saw something out there like, oh, I ate a Chick-fil-A, so I like Chick-fil-A, so I should own a Chick-fil-A. By the way, Chick-fil-A's are not a franchise, just disclaimer. But I ate at this donut company and they've got franchises, so maybe I should do that. I like donuts. That's not really what you're trying to accomplish, is it? You just want to buy something, be a franchisee because you like the thing that they serve. That might be good, but it might not be. And so what I want you to do is really think about, this is what we all have to do. We need to think about what are we trying to do here, right? Are you looking to replace your income? That's a big thing that we hear from our clients, is they're looking for a way to replace their income. Okay, no matter what your income is, I want you to write down your income right now. If you don't know it, that's a problem. But write down your income. And if you're trying to replace your income, how quickly are you looking to replace it? Do you need to replace it month one? You know, if you're making $200,000 a year, you need to replace that's essentially replacing $18,000 a month of income. And so your new business needs to create $18,000 of net profit in order to replace your current income level. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. There's franchises out there that you can do that. You better be a high performer, and it better be a sales-driven, service-based business without much overhead. If you need to do it in month one, if you absolutely need to do it in month one. But again, this is all about what you're trying to accomplish. If you need to, if you're more, let's say a little bit more realistic, and you want to replace that income level. Let's say you're at $200,000 a year. You need to replace about $18,000 a month of income. Look around and say, okay, how much capital reserves do I have after making my initial investment to give me the runway to get to that level? Okay, and I want you to take a look at your savings, your net savings, any income that you have coming in that's ancillary. I don't know, you got an annuity, maybe you suit somebody, whatever. You're going to call J.G. Wentworth and take all of your money out of your annuity. Heck, it's your money, right? Use it when you want it. But I digress. The point is, you need to figure out what the heck you're trying to do. How much money do you need if it's income replacement? Okay, and you're gonna have to quit your job in order to start this franchise. Not every franchise does that happen, by the way, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But if it's going to be something that you're just sick of working, I hate working at my job where I'm making 100 grand, 200 grand a year, and I'm sick of doing it. I don't want to work for the man. I want to be in charge. I want to be in control of my life and my future. And you want to replace that income. You need to first identify how long it's going to take you to replace that income. What's a realistic goal and strategy? How much money do you have? If you can last 6 months, that's probably best. I would say a good rule of thumb here is to make sure that you have at least 3 months, minimum 3 months of savings as a cushion, as your runway to get your business off the ground. Okay, and you're going to be taking into account everything. The overhead of operating that business. That's included in the initial franchise investment, by the way, and we'll harken back to a couple of those concepts there. Item 7 of the FDD is going to show you all of the initial investments that you're going to be making to get your business off the ground, and it includes the working capital necessary to operate that business for roughly 3 months. And so as long as you've got all of that stashed away, everything additional on top of that, you're going to need at least 3 months of living expenses. So your mortgage payment, your car payment, alimony, child support, whatever. All right, whatever you got that you have to pay every single month. Your food, right? You like eating, don't you? Make sure you include all of that in there. Make a list. Figure out how much money you got. And how long that money can last you if no money's coming in. Okay? That's number one. Then number two, you're going to work like hell to get that business off the ground as fast as possible, to cash flow enough as quickly as possible so you don't have to eat into that 3 months worth of cushion there. Hopefully you can add to that 3 months of cushion. But it's all about what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, if it's in back to the original point here, if you're trying to accomplish leaving your job, that's the exercise that you're going to have to go through when evaluating all of your franchise options that are out there. And they're endless, by the way. You got donut franchises, food franchises of any kind. I don't typically like those, but they exist. You got fitness franchises. You got service-based franchises like home improvement or maid services or window cleaning or dog walking, dog bathing, whatever, right? There's all types of pet franchises out there. You got pet supplies franchises if you really want to get into the pet world. The senior care industry, that's a really booming industry, lots of revenue potential. Obviously, they've got what they call the silver tsunami coming, right, where there's like 10,000 Americans every single day that turn 65. So those people are going to need care. So maybe you want to get into the senior care space. But whatever franchise industry, whatever type of franchise you want to get into, this is the exercise that you want to go to first, is what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're trying to accomplish just adding an income stream, you're going to keep your job, you want to add an income stream. Well, very first thing you need to do is eliminate all of the franchises out there, which this is the majority, that require active participation full-time by the owner. Okay? Those that don't require that are called semi-passive franchises. A semi-passive franchise means that you hire a manager and then you manage the manager. Now, if you have a job that is not flexible, that means you cannot leave, it's maybe an hourly position or something that just requires all of your attention throughout the working time that you're required to be at work, do not buy a semi-passive franchise. Okay? I'm going to say that again. If you work at a job that requires you to be there all day, do not buy a semi-passive franchise. Why? Because you're just going to run out of time. You're not going to be able to manage that. Let's say your manager gets sick. What are you going to do? If you can't leave your job, what are you going to do? Let's say your manager, the guy you hired or the gal you hired, sucks and you need to fire them. You think that happens? Yeah, it happens all the time. What are you going to do if you cannot take time off work to operate that business? Shut the business down? After you dumped your savings or you got a loan to do it? No. Okay? That's a dangerous proposition. Now, if you have a very flexible job, maybe you're an outside sales rep and you can come in and out when you want to. Maybe you've got some seniority. Maybe you're a college professor that's got tenure, and it doesn't matter what you do. Right? Then, yes, you're going to be a candidate to be a semi-passive franchise owner, but it all depends on your individual situation. So you need to look at that. You need to know that. So if you're looking to add some passive income, quote unquote, or some additional income streams to your life, then semi-passive could be the option there, right? There's also some other options out there, like getting into some of the really passive opportunities, things like vending machines, ice vending machines, maybe even like a mobile food distribution kind of thing, like a Kona Ice, okay, like an icy type franchise. There's donut franchises out there that are mobile that you can really schedule around your own time, and you can still be the manager of this franchise, but you're not hampered by a large lease or whatever. You just get the vehicle, then it's up to you to get the events scheduled, etc. And you could do that maybe on just the weekends, okay? Maybe an estate sale franchise, something that you could do on the weekends as well. Maybe that could be an opportunity for you and still to keep your job. There's, again, senior care franchises. As long as you're good at evaluating people and hiring them to do the work, you might be able to work that around your work schedule and make it a semi-passive opportunity. But again, if that's what you're trying to accomplish, that's the path that you're going to need to go down. And this is exactly what we work with our clients to identify. Right? And it's hard to find these franchises. You don't know what you don't know. Maybe their ad says that it's semi-passive, but once you really start digging into the nitty-gritty of what it is to operate this business, you start to see like, oh hell, even in the best case scenario, I mean, I've got 2 hours a day of answering emails. I've got 3 hours a week of meetings with my manager and the team. Right? We're up to like, well, what is that? We're up to 10 hours, 13 hours already, just in those answering emails and scheduling meetings with your team. What about the financial outlook of your company? What about checking all your KPIs, right? Making sure that your business is healthy. Oh man, now we're talking, you're up to 18, 20 hours. If you're working a job that you have to be there 40 hours a week, now we're up to 60 hours a week, which, whatever, it's doable. But how long is it doable? Right? Are you going to get exhausted? Are you going to quit? Are you going to give up like a lot of people do? You got to know yourself. Okay. So that's that's the second thing. If you're looking at, kind of second scenario here of what we're trying to accomplish, what are common things that people are trying to accomplish. All right. Now, what if you are, let's say you're a high net worth individual. You got $500,000 cash. You got an amazing job. You got a bunch of other assets. Maybe you own some Airbnbs, maybe some rental properties. Maybe even you got a couple other businesses, and you just want to stack on top of that and have a business that's fully passive. Okay, there are fully passive options out there. By the way, those fully passive options are not real estate. Ask anybody that owns an Airbnb and or an investment, portfolio of investment properties. Ask them if it's fully passive. It's not. Okay, don't be fooled. There's lots of stuff you got to do. So it's not a fully passive thing. And truthfully, there really is no such thing as a fully passive business opportunity. If you want to be fully passive, take your money, put it in the stock market. Okay, that's passive. You have no control. You got no say of what's going on. You can't check the company out, see if it's Enron, and maybe it's they're cooking the books. You have no idea. Okay, but again, if you want to have some element of control over your investments and where your money's going, the franchise can be a good opportunity for you, but you got to know where to look. Right? There are fully passive franchise opportunities out there. And what does that look like? Well, a fully passive franchise is a franchise that they actually hire the manager for you. You might have to legally, quote unquote, hire them, but they're going to source them. They're going to tell you who to hire. You then make the decision, I'm using air quotes here, to hire that person. Okay, that person gets hired, franchisor trains them, the franchisor holds them accountable to the things that are necessary to run that business. Then that manager hires the other ancillary people to do the work in the business. Let's say it's a sales organization, like a home improvement type franchise that's going to be marketing and sales driven. That person hires the sales team and the fulfillment folks to do that. So that manager is operating your business. The franchisor is managing the manager, leading the manager, training the manager, holding that manager accountable. And then that leaves you to meet with the franchisor once a month to go over your key performance indicators. And it's really only your job to ensure that the business is financially healthy. Right? You're going to be doing that through checking your books, working with your CPA, and depending on how much control you want to exert, because it is still your business, you're going to be meeting with that manager too, if you choose to do so, so long as you're not stepping on the toes of the management agreement that's in place between the franchisor and your business. Okay, those exist. Those are out there. They're pretty cool. They're really reserved for folks that are higher net worth. Your lowest investment that you're going to get into with a franchise like that is going to be in the mid 200s, so about $250,000 to get it off the ground. You can get an SBA loan to cover that, so you got to come with at least 20 to 25% down to operate that business. But keep in mind, you're going to be cutting yourself short on the profitability side of things. So you can't use a traditional pro forma to make planning decisions based on this franchise. You can't look at like the item 19 of this franchise unless they include the fully passive stuff in their item 19, which is the financial performance representation of the business. If they're just reporting your standard franchises out there, you can't really use those as numbers because you got the additional overhead of the management agreement in place, because you're going to be adding on some additional expenses to pay the franchisor to actually manage this, the team for you. You're going to be paying that manager a pretty substantial salary because they're going to act as the de facto owner of this franchise, right? Even though they don't own anything, but you're going to have to pay them a pretty substantial salary. We're talking 100,000+ a year. So when you're making all of your projections, how much money you want to make from that business. Now, keep in mind, by the way, all of these businesses, no matter what your financial goals are, there is always an exit strategy. Okay, so as long as you build this business up, it's going well. Let's say it's the fully passive opportunity, and it's going really, really well. You can then list that in the free market and sell it for whatever multiple of either EBITDA or top line revenue that is out there, and make a substantial windfall for yourself, and really do it fairly hands off. It's a pretty cool opportunity. All right. And by the way, that the sales price of that business is not going to have any impact on whether it's a managed agreement through the franchisor where it's fully passive, or if you were the owner operator, right? You're still going to be able to sell that thing for a multiple. And so a lot of pretty cool options for people out there on the financial side of things. But again, it's all about what you want to accomplish. Back to the original point. If you're just doing it as a passion play, you just want to be in control of your life and control of your either financial or lifestyle, those exist out there too. Let's say you don't need to make a whole ton of money. Let's say you only need to make 50, 60 grand a year. Then your options are endless, right? You got to find, then we can find something that you can align your passions with. You can find something like, let's say you really like being with people. You're a very social type person, and you like providing like a fun atmosphere for people to be in. You can get into any sort of like event type franchise where like people come in, maybe it's like one of those niche things, like they're throwing axes or whatever. They're shooting bow and arrows at stuff. Maybe it's a trampoline type park, right? Who knows? Maybe you like that kind of stuff. Maybe it's like a kids activity like Legos. Those franchises exist and they could be very good for the right person. Maybe you like providing an environment for people to come and have a drink after work, right? There's franchises out there like that are pretty cool. They're pretty low to get into. They're super fun. You open it up and they can be very low overhead. By the way, there's a franchise I work with that is extremely low overhead, very low on the initial investment, about 250, 260 grand to get it off the ground. Cash flows a ton, so you can still check off the financial box, and you get to have fun hanging out with people and providing them wine and beers and wine slushies and things like that while they go about their day doing whatever they were there to do in the first place. I know I'm being a little clandestine, but it's a cool franchise. So call us up if you want to learn more about that franchise. But again, everything harkens back to that. That's always going to be the very first step that you need to take is how much or what are you trying to accomplish? All right. Beating that point to a pulp. So we're going to move on to the next thing that you need to consider when making the decision whether or not you should be investing into a franchise. The second thing is how much can you invest? Okay. How much can you invest? How much can you invest comfortably where it's not going to be a stretch? You don't want the F word creeping in, right? Fear. We don't want to have that happen. So you need to be comfortable with the amount of investment that's going to be made. What's your risk tolerance like? Do you want to take on debt equity to fund this business? Do you want to have investor equity to fund this business? Bring on partners. Or do you want to just do it all on your own, bootstrap it, pay cash, and get rocking and rolling? It all depends on what you want to do. But as I remember the first example there, make sure that you keep enough savings backed up to cover your living expenses for a minimum of 3 months. So you want to look at that. How much can you invest? And that's going to eliminate your options pretty rapidly. But the good news is, this is a little secret that I'm going to share with you, not every franchise that is out there, the quality of those franchises are not dictated by the initial investment. Okay, I'm going to say that again because I kind of butchered what I was trying to say there. The quality of the franchise is very rarely dictated by the investment. Right? It's not like buying a car where the more you spend, the better the car is. Right? That's not the way this works in the franchise world. Some of the best franchises that I've seen that I know that exist out there, this is again a little secret for you, are right around $70,000 to $75,000 investment. All right. $70,000 to $75,000 investment. You'll make more money than you will with almost any franchise that's going to be to the $200,000 to $300,000 investment range, even more. Now, there are franchises out there that are $1 million plus to get into that earn $150K a year of EBITDA. Look at Dunkin' Donuts, man. Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, everybody loves Dunkin' Donuts, right? Oh, look at that, dude. Big buildings, big brand, huge national advertising campaigns. I mean, if you want to make 60 grand a year, great. Go buy a Dunkin' Donuts. Sounds great. A Subway, right? If you want to make 40 grand a year and wearing a hairnet all day, great. Go do a Subway. And that's about $450,000, $400,000 to get the business up and running. There are businesses, again, out there, $70,000 investment, $70,000 investment, and you can make as much money as you want because they're endlessly scalable, single location, single investment, scalable businesses. Now, there's a trade-off. There's always a trade-off, okay? You sure as heck better be real good at building a sales team and delivering the marketing message and purveying that business into your community, okay? Going to every chamber of commerce meeting, going to home shows or different trade shows, depending on what it is that you have to offer. If it's senior care, by the way, senior care, you can make a killing off of with a $60,000, $70,000 investment, $100,000 investment. I mean, you could turn around and make a lot of money doing it, but it all depends on how much you're willing to execute, how good you are at executing on these strategies that they do. Okay. That's number 2 is how much you can invest. Okay, if you want to help look at that, hit our website and look at in the resources section. There's a financial qualifications assessment in there. If you fill it out, you'll be able to see what type of franchises you can afford. All right. Up next, number 3, I think we're on. Are you cut out to be a business owner? This is something you have to decide for yourself before investing in a franchise. Are you cut out to be a business owner? It's gut check time, right? Do I have the mental makeup? Can I deal with the ebbs and flows of business? Listen, you're gonna have some highs in business, and you're gonna have a ton of lows. And are you gonna be the person that just folds under pressure, quits when the going gets hard, or are you're gonna pull up your pants and get to work when things get hard, because things do get hard. So are you cut out to being a business owner? It's an assessment that you need to make on yourself. You know yourself better than anybody else does. Okay? Because no matter what, franchise, non-franchise, the buck stops with you. You're the business owner. It's their system, your business. You have to be the type of person that can handle that, right? You take the utmost responsibility for your outcomes. Right? If you're the kind of person who plays the blame game, then stay out of business ownership. There's nobody to blame but yourself. Oh, the marketing sucks and the franchisor is providing. Okay, great. Who cares? What are you going to do about it? Right? Now, I'm not saying the marketing sucks, by the way. You shouldn't be buying a franchise if the marketing sucks, but maybe sometimes it does. Maybe it does. But what are you going to do about it? The economy is bad. Oh, boo-hoo. The economy's always bad. Right? The economy isn't going to affect your business, your ability to steal market share, take market share away from your competitors. And so these are the things that you need to consider. You need to look at yourself. Am I cut out for being a business owner? And I like to use this example, by the way, when it comes to buying a franchise. All right, so buying a franchise, if you're going to be a business owner, there are things that you have to do. If you're going to start a business from scratch, there are things you're going to have that you don't necessarily have to have when you're buying a franchise. Number one, you have to have a really great idea, right? You're going to have some sort of idea or skill set to be able to do the business that you're starting, okay? You need to understand the industry exceedingly well. Maybe you've got some sort of cool idea or an app or whatever, right? Some sort of unique selling proposition. You understand marketing. You understand how to sell your product, how to burst into the marketplace, how to hire people, all the technology side of things that you need to have to operate the business. Like if you know all of that stuff, you got a robust background in business development, and you have the idea and the unique selling proposition of a product or service, then don't start a franchise. Okay, you're an entrepreneur at that point, right? Entrepreneurs don't make great franchisees all the time. Because being an entrepreneur sometimes means that you have that pig-headed mentality where it's your way or the highway, right? And if it's your way or the highway, why are you hopping on the highway and buying a franchise? That doesn't make any sense, right? And so if you have that, if that's who you are, then steer clear of the franchises. Don't buy one. Very simple. Just don't buy one if that's who you are. If you've got all of those makeup, and here's why. Because it's going to be a uphill battle. You're going to be constantly at odds with the franchisor, and eventually it's going to end poorly, just like every marriage does, where they shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. Right? You get two crazy egomaniacs, you put them together, right? It's a dogfight the whole time, and they're going to end up getting divorced. That's no fun, right? And so, same thing's going to happen when you buy a franchise, if you're that type of person. Now, for the vast majority of people, I'm not a anything, right? I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an HVAC person. I'm not a dog groomer. I'm not a hairstylist. Right? I'm not a coder. Whatever. I'm not a anything. And so if I want to be a business owner, I would have to be a franchisee, right? Bingo. And so if that's who you are, then that's a good starting point to now say, okay, maybe I am a candidate to own a franchise. Okay? Maybe you are. Now, the other side of the thing here, the other side of the equation is when it comes to investing into a franchise, you have to understand a very, very fundamental fact about buying a franchise. Buying a franchise is not buying a magic formula that prints money. Okay? It is not buying a formula that just prints money. It's not magic. It's not luck. It has nothing to do, or very little to do, with the actual model of the franchise. It's all about execution. So, like I said before, it's your business, their system. Your business, their system. Who's more in charge? It's you. Now, you have to follow the system, because the system that you're investing in is a proven track record of success. You don't in that field. So why not just take the thing that you're buying and execute like hell on? But it's about execution. And so this is an analogy that I like to use to folks to help really illustrate this. So if you're familiar with the card game Texas Hold'em, okay, Texas Hold'em is a card game out there that's a pretty unique looking card game. Right? You get two cards that are dealt out in front of you. If you don't know what Texas Hold'em is, watch the movie Rounders, a wonderful movie starring Matt Damon, and it's all about Texas Hold'em. And so you get your two cards in front of you. Okay, those are your cards. Right? Whatever your cards are, that's going to be the thing that leads to your ability to build a strong hand. Okay? How do you build a strong hand? Well, they've got community cards that the dealer deals out in the middle. We've got the flop, the river, and the turn, or whatever, right? Whatever the terms are. But they put out 5 additional cards out in the middle of the table. Those are community cards. Whoever has the strongest hand of those, a 5-card hand, including your cards, is the winner of that game. Right, that's a simplified approach. Obviously, there's betting strategy in there. There's bluffing. There's all the other stuff that goes out there. There's other life lessons that we can pull from that, but let's just take it at its face value. We're trying to build the strongest possible hand out of our 2 cards and the dealer's 5 cards. Okay? The franchisor is going to be holding 5 cards. Let's say it's marketing. Let's say it's recruiting. Let's say it's technology. Maybe it's a unique product. Maybe they have like a widget or something they hold the patent to that is highly sought after in your marketplace. Let's say they've got a good brand recognition, whatever those cards are, they are what they are. Okay, the franchisor holds those cards. They are what they are. They're right in the middle of the table for anybody to take. Now, your cards, the strength of your cards will help you to determine whether or not it's going to be a good match for you. Let's say you're holding a good marketing card and a good sales ability card. Okay, so you got the marketing sales thing locked down. And you look across at the cards in the middle of the table, and you're looking at them, and you're like, oh, wait, look at that. I don't see a marketing card out there, but what I do see is a product that has a patent on it that I could rep in my marketplace. Okay, cool. All right, now I'm building a pretty strong hand now. I've got the marketing, the sales card, and the unique selling proposition card. That's pretty nice, right? Let's say I don't know jack about marketing technology or sales technology, CRMs or something like that, and you see across the table, look, they got their own proprietary CRM that's custom built for this business and helps keep the business organized and moving forward, and you drip campaigns and all kinds of cool text message, SMS features, and to get to customer engagement platforms, all the other cool stuff that exists out there. Oh man, they got that card too. So now I got 4 cards in a pretty strong hand. Look at me so far. And then maybe the last card that you see over there that really piques your interest is something like the financial card. Maybe the card that they're holding, their item 19, is showing $2 million of average top line revenue. Whoa! Look at that, $2 million average top line revenue. It's exactly what I want. I've got my 5 cards here. I'm amazing. They're amazing. We're a perfect hand. We're going to win every time. All right? Long-winded example, but it is what it is, and help you to really understand what that relationship looks like. Okay, because like I said, it's your business, their systems and strategies. Okay? So, now all of that being said, why should you buy a franchise? I don't know. This is up to you to decide, right? All I know is when we work together, and if we work with clientele, this is the exercise that we're going to go through with them to help them to identify this. Listen, there's 5,000 different franchises out there. All right, I don't know, 4,000, 3,500, You can find different numbers out there. But let's go with 5,000 because that's probably the most accurate. There's 5,000 different franchises out there. You can buy one. What the hell? Like, what are you going to do? One out of 5,000. I mean, that's the proverbial needle in a haystack, right? My goodness. What are we going to do? One out of 5,000. How are we going to vet these things? Well, you got to start eliminating things, right? This is an exercise of elimination, not choosing. Because there's too many to just choose from. Like, oh, I like this. Well, who knows? Great, you like it. What do you like about it? You like the brand? You like the product? Who cares? Does anybody else like it? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. We don't know yet, right? And this is the exercise that we're going to go through. This is what we do with our clients. We just go through this process here. Like, figure it out. What are we looking to accomplish? How much money you got? And are you cut out to be a business owner? Those are the three things we look at. What are you trying to accomplish? How much can you invest? And are you cut out to be a business owner? Once you figure all that stuff out, then it's pretty easy. We'll eliminate them all down. You look at them. You're like, okay, I like this one. Great. You're never going to find a perfect franchise, by the way. It's like the old adage, if you're looking at joining a new church because you want to find the perfect church, don't join it because you'll ruin it. Right? There's no such thing as perfect franchise. Every franchise has its flaws, but it's about are you perfect together? Right? Is your 5-card hand strong enough to go and dominate, to hit the goals that you lined out on what you were trying to accomplish in that first step? If they are, then it's a good fit. Don't pass up good for trying to find perfection. Okay? So that's it on today's episode of the Franchise Revolution podcast. Went a little longer than I imagined I would, but thanks for sticking with me for today. On our next episode, there's a little teaser. This is what they call in the biz, a teaser, right? Our next episode, we're going to focus on obsession, okay? Obsession, not the perfume or cologne. We're going to talk about obsession and how to identify if a franchisor has the right amount of obsession to help number one, be aligned with you, but also to help you as you go into becoming a business owner of that franchise. There's a lot of, success leaves clues, as they say. Well, obsession leaves clues as well. And if your franchisor is not obsessed with the success of both the business model and of their franchisees, then they probably are not a great fit for the masses, for the majority of people. Now, if your obsession is strong, you might be able to make up for some deficiencies, as we talked about before. If you're holding the obsession card, you might be able to make up for it. But we're going to look for and the importance of what obsession looks like and how it manifests itself into the success of a franchisor or franchisee relationship. We're going to do that on our next episode. But again, thank you so much for tuning in today. Hit up our website, revfran.com, REVFRAN.com. If you want to find additional episodes, subscribe if you like what you heard. And heck, subscribe if you didn't like what you heard too. I don't know why everybody says just if you liked it. No, just subscribe. Who cares? It's not going to cost you anything to subscribe yet. So just subscribe. Don't care. Subscribe. Leave us some comments. Leave us a review. Those kinds of things help, I've been told. So, again, thanks for joining us today. Be excellent, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Franchise Revolution.